going to be live shortly, and we're live on the last day of this decade.
It is, and it's also TV Tuesday. Woo, woo. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. And thank you for watching us right now exclusively on the YouTube, or as my people would say, El YouTube.
What's wrong with your face? Why do you look different?
I have contact lenses in.
What?
I don't have my little glasses. I don't know if this happened to you. Sometimes when I'm wearing contacts, I'll still do this. Like I'm trying to push my glasses and there's nothing there.
No, because I'm not stupid.
I am. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Over to you, back in the studio.
We're in the same place.
I know. I just always wanted to do
this
that.
This is the studio.
I know. We're in Studio 1A at Blakey Manor.
Where's Studio 1B?
Studio 1A is Rockefeller Plaza. I don't know. This can be studio.
This is the Hollywood Matrimony Studio.
What should our studio name, though? Because you were trying to give the other space.
Well, that was because I was being silly because of Star Wars.
No.
And I was trying to make you feel good by calling it Drusy Station instead of Toshi Station or Toshi Station.
No, but I didn't like that.
Well, it didn't matter because once the show is over, you don't get any connection to my room.
I'm checking my hair now. How's my hair?
Please.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Anyway.
Welcome to the Hollywood Matrimony Studios.
I don't believe we did a show last week.
At Blakey Manor. We did not, so we have a lot to talk about.
Or did we do it last week?
I don't think we did. I don't remember.
I think we did do it last week. I think it was before
with
the Star Wars one. Yeah. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We'll talk about whatever.
All right. So we got all kinds of stuff to talk about today. We've watched some new shows, some old shows. We got caught up on some shows. All kind of stuff. So what do you want to talk about, madam? Or do you even know what we're talking about?
I want to talk about a new show that I just started today. I'm really excited about it. I know it's silly and I don't care. It's called Flirty Dancing.
No flirty
hosted by
dancing.
Jenna Dewan.
No flirty dancing.
I really enjoyed the little show. So the premise of the show is that it's like a blind date TV show. Okay, so people are signing up to go on a blind date. And they take a guy and they teach him 2 different dance numbers. They're not dancers. They're just normal people. And they teach 2 different ladies.
The people that teach them aren't dancers?
Yes. The people teaching them are like award-winning dancers.
Are they award-winning?
And a lot of them you'll know from So You Think You Can Dance.
Oh, well, now you've changed everything.
I'm saying the contestant, the man or the woman, they don't know how to dance. They're just normal people. And then they teach 2 people the 2 different routines. And then that is their first date, is that he goes and he shows up and this lady turns around and start doing the dance number. And then later that day, he'll do a dance with a different person. And then they have 3 days to pick which person do they want to go and actually meet and talk to and have conversations, start dating. So I just watched the first episode. I'm already hooked. I think it's a great idea. It's a great premise to me because as Jenna Dewan says, you can fall in love with someone from dancing with them. Because, I mean, that's what happened with her and Channing Tatum.
Yeah, look how that turned out. Because they're divorced.
It turned out really well for a long, long time. They had issues, but that's okay.
But
communication is the key.
It just proves that when you're flirty dancing relationship, you're going to in for a flirty divorce.
So that's why we're still together, because we did not flirty dance.
We don't dance.
This man would not dance with me.
I did dance with you.
You still don't, really. You stand there, and I dance on you.
And that's what it should be.
Whatever. So check out Flirty Dancing.
Toxic masculinity.
I think Flirty Dancing is the cutest little show. I'm going to tell you what network it's on.
It's on Don't Watch It Network.
It is on Fox.
Okay, well, let's move it on because Fox apparently is struggling. Gotham is gone, and they're like, oh, let's replace it with Flirty
Dancing.
Jeez, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's talk about something else. Jesus. God, I can't believe that even exists.
It's the cutest thing.
It's the Bachelorette with dancing. Is all it is.
It's better than
That's all it is. It can't be better because it's the same thing. All right. So let's talk about some other. These other ones are they're newish. There's a couple that we kicked off watching from Apple TV.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
One we already finished.
Love Apple TV. Check it out.
Which is Snoopy in Space. Is that what it is?
It's Snoopy in Space.
And I hesitate to call it really a TV series. Each episode's 8 minutes.
It's a series of shorts.
Yeah, but that's one
long story.
Which, let me tell you, there's a problem already in the story. Is you got there's
this guy's being a naysayer about Snoopy. Don't hate on Snoopy. It's a cartoon.
There's a bunch of kids working in that. Nobody's working at NASA. All these kids are somehow.
Franklin's really intelligent, so
the one kid he could have an internship, but somehow
so is Marcy.
but somehow they've got all the kids are working at NASA. And let me get you, this isn't like a reimagining like they're running. They were in school and now they're in NASA running a space station.
Let me just tell you though, it's actually a really good series and it's actually very smart.
It's educational.
It's educational and they're teaching you all of the science and technology. It's really like a STEM series cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, and they're teaching you about how agriculture.
There are no adults in this show. Where are the adults?
It doesn't matter.
Where are the adults?
It's a really smart show. Get your kids to watch it. They'll like Snoopy, but
it's
they
a fun
are
little
actual
show.
learning. You're learning a lot about space travel and
I learned so much about imagination.
But I learned a lot about space and science.
Did you? I learned absolutely nothing. It was all the same time.
And how they grow vegetables in space, which we already knew if you watched the Mars movie with
anyway.
What's his name? There you go.
I like that you tried to do that voice.
I know. Anyways,
it's a cute little show, but cartoons always irritate me when they suddenly just go off the realm and it's like had they
dude.
But no, had they here's my thing with it though. I know it's a stupid show and it's funny and it's meant to be that way. But had they did it as like a reimagining where Snoopy's an astronaut and they're running the stuff, then I would have accepted that. I said, okay,
Snoopy is an astronaut.
But he's not at the beginning of the show. He
signs up to be
somehow became an astronaut, and we can't speak a lick of English. He can't even communicate. He talks like this. Him and Woodstock. Somehow Woodstock becomes he's a bird. He's kind of an astronaut bird. Anyway, it's a cute little show. It's fine. So that was not the only thing we watched. Another show very similar to this one, we watched another one that was very similar to Snoopy called C.
Not at all. Completely different.
It's almost the same thing.
It's a show starring Jason Momoa. It is post-apocalyptic, I guess. It's in the future. We've destroyed the planet, which we know is going to happen. That's why all these shows make sense. And because of, I guess, the fallout and everything that happened, everyone in the next few generations is born blind.
Yeah, everybody in the world is blind.
Very interesting. Except now we think.
Well, I don't know if we've learned it yet. I think the story aspect.
Well, no, because remember, the legend. Let me just say, we don't know. We haven't seen.
We've only watched the first episode so far.
You haven't seen anybody that can see,
Vader.
so I don't know why it's called see just yet.
Vader, hold on, Vader, get off that. Oh.
But the legends are telling us there's one person in the world that can see. We haven't met them yet. We don't know if it's true. We don't know what's happening, but it's interesting.
I can do what's not happening. Vision.
Not at all, but you know what?
It's interesting the way they did it. I mean, there's some things you can look at and be like, okay, that they clearly could see, or they could have done that kind of fight the way they did it. But
maybe
it's pretty clever the way they.
I think they tried to incorporate a lot of visually impaired people in the show.
No, I know that, but I'm saying that there's some moments in the fights where they have smart elements where you can tell they're using their sounds or they're grabbing a hold of something, and then there's other elements when somebody blocks something. There's no way they would have known that was there. But you let that go for the aspect of what's happening. Yeah. But it is pretty interesting, just the direction. It's Jason Momoa. Who was it? Viola Davis? No.
Alfred
Woodard.
Yeah, Alfie Woodard. Whatever her name.
Alf is in it.
Yeah, she's so good too. I love her. She's just great. I love her. That's it.
You like Alf?
Yes. No.
Gordon Shumway?
I like Gordon Shumway.
What's happening behind you now?
I don't know what's happening.
There's just a dog butt sticking out. There's a dog butt. He's giving me the look.
You got the look.
Sit down. Anyway, so
Alfred Woodard.
Yeah, and it's pretty violent, but it's a little slow. I will say this: my only issue with that first episode we watched, and this isn't why we haven't watched second. We've just been busy. That first episode felt long.
It did. We're like,
it was only an hour, but it felt like I watched almost a movie.
It was epic. I think it was just so big and so much happened in one episode.
Yeah, and I think there was a long drag of stuff as they're trying to set things up. But then you have this big battle too, and so there's a lot happens. I can see it either end up being a really good show, or it's going to be a really fall flat bad show. But we won't know until we get deeper into it. So that's that.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to see what happens with me being a pillow. Can y'all see his little face? He's so
Look, there's his face. He's out here.
It's fine. I'll be his pillow.
I'm
a good pet mom.
Well, let me talk about before we get into, because I don't think you have any ones that we didn't watch together for you.
No, not this
outside of that one. So the other thing I just want to talk about, Titans season 2 wrapped up. I think it wrapped up probably a couple weeks ago, but I've been behind, so I just got it caught up. If you haven't watched Titans, it's on DC Universe. It's the only show so far that's had its second season. I believe it's been renewed for a third season. This season, the biggest issue is the first season. As I love the first season, but it didn't feel like Titans. So it was darker. Well, it's a darker show than most people. That was one of the big arguments people had when they had the first trailer come out, that it's a little bit darker than thought. But when you actually watch the show, it is darker. It's more of an adult show. You know, they're dropping F-bombs. There's nudity. There's bloody violence.
Okay.
It's not a kids Titan show. That's
why people know that. I hope people aren't letting their kids watch it.
Well, their first trailer that ever came out of the show was the one that had Robin say "F Batman," and that pissed people off. But this is the time period where they've had their falling out, and that happened in the comics too, where Dick Grayson and Batman separated for a long time when he went to Bloodhaven. That's one of the reasons he became Nightwing, to be out on his own. They didn't talk for a while, then kind of came back past that. But Dick Grayson's like the only guy that really kind of puts Batman in his place in the whole Bat family. He's the one that'll tell you, shut up.
Yeah.
You need to stop treating people like this. But anyway, that's a whole different issue. The new show, the new season feels more like a Titan show because you've got Robin. You got two Robins. You got Tim Drake and Dick Grayson. Or no, Jason Todd. Is it Jason Todd? Shoot, I'm going to have to go look if it's Jason Todd or Tim Drake. Doesn't matter. You got Dick Grayson and a different Robin.
Because they're both, do they overlap at any point?
No.
I know the one guy turns
Dick Grayson's always been there.
Okay.
Because he's the one that becomes Nightwing in the comic, right? You had Tim Drake and Jason Todd. Jason Todd was a Robin in the middle who was murdered by the Joker.
Right.
And then you have Tim Drake who became Robin. Tim Drake is still around in the comics. I believe he's now known as Red Robin. And now you have Damian Wayne, who is the little boy, who is the of Talia al Ghul and Bruce Wayne's son.
Is it Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul or Raj?
Raj.
That's the only thing that drives me crazy in that other
And then you also have Jason Todd is now back as Red Hood.
Yeah.
So there's all the different variations of Robin are actually alive and well in the comics now. They're all just different characters now. Jason Todd actually uses guns and whatnot. So anyway, if I get any of that wrong, feel free to correct me because I haven't read a Batman comic in a long time. I just know from the news snips and little things, crossovers, that kind of thing. But anyway, with the movie or the show, you got two Robins. You got who's the current Robin, and then you have Dick Grayson, who used to be Robin. He's still Robin in the show, but he's not with Batman anymore. And then you got Starfire, you got Raven, you got Beast Boy. The second season they added Aqualad, they added Wonder Girl. Hawk and Dove are back again, and now we're taking on Deathstroke, and played by Isai Morales, which I was against that casting at first, but he actually does pretty good in the show. And then they painted his goatee.
I know you were all like, I don't think this.
Well, it's because I was afraid they were going to let him just be Isai Morales.
But he's good. Was he playing drums like in La Bamba?
No, but he has the gray hair.
People are like, "What's La Bamba?"
He's got the gray hair. He's got the gray goatee. So he looks like him. And they also incorporated his kids with Jericho and Rose. Get off the phone while we're doing a show.
I'm in the middle of different conversations.
Okay, well, stop having conversations. We're doing a show. They deal with the storylines of Jericho and Rose and how they connect to Titans, which was part of the Jericho crossover, Judas Project, whatever. Yeah. Okay. But the new season, I really like the season. Deathstroke's one of my favorite characters, if you don't know that. So anytime Deathstroke's around, I'm in.
I still think Crixus is Deathstroke, so.
Yeah, he's okay. He was a decent Deathstroke. Just like
body.
If I would have to pick.
Oh, who would you pick?
If I had to pick, we have technically 3 Deathstrokes, but it's really only 2.5.
Because there's an old man one, right? An older guy. Or was the old? Okay.
We have, if you're going by the live action, we've got 2.5, and I say half because one only got a cameo at the end of Justice League, I believe it is, or Batman v Superman. I think it was Batman v Superman, and we're never going to get to see it happen. Sadly, that was played by Joe Magliablato, who his Deathstroke looked badass, and I think he would have been an awesome Deathstroke. Hopefully, something will still happen that eventually, but that kind of died. But we've had. Crixus and Manu Bennett, who played him in Arrow, and now we have Isai Morales in Titans, and I'm going to go with Isai Morales as a better Deathstroke because he just seems closer to the comic. No, he just felt more like the comic.
Is it the beard?
Well, he had everything. Part of it is he looks like Deathstroke. He acts like Deathstroke. The brutality of the show, and I think there's a little thing when you add Rose in there, who's his daughter. She has the white hair just like him. She has the eye patch, and her armor is similar to his. except for her mask is like this. It's like a half mask. It don't cover the lower half of her face. So just getting to see all that come to life. If I have one beef, is they're still not letting Beast Boy do anything but turn into a tiger. And I know it's probably a budget effects situation, but he's supposed to be able to turn into any animal. So hopefully we'll get to expound on that in the future. But it wraps up really nice. Oh, we also have Connor and Crypto.
The dog?
Yeah.
Huh.
Crypto's in it. Connor.
Does it look good though?
Yeah, it's just a normal white dog. He runs around, but he flies and stuff. And
does he have a little suit on? A little cape? And
no.
That's not fun.
No.
Vader, do you want a cape? And you can be a super dog.
But the storyline they did with Connor works really well. Who eventually becomes Connor Kent. Who, if you don't know who Connor is,
I don't know that.
Connor is a clone that's mixed with Clark Kent and Lex Luthor's DNA. So he's essentially Superboy.
I got a dog elbow.
He's the one that wears the black T-shirt with the red Superman symbol on it.
Oh, okay.
And just jeans. Gosh. But he's a major player to the show. So anyway, Titans season 2 wrapped up.
Scoot over a tiny bit. I'm so sorry. The full family wants to be in the camera.
Titans 2 is wrapped up. It was an excellent season. I love the show. If you haven't checked it out, give it a chance.
Where can I find it?
Move it on. It's on DC Universe.
Okay.
Which is also where you have Doom Patrol, which that show is awesome, but it is a little weird.
Not to be confused with Paw Patrol. I really like that show. It's so cute.
The sadly underappreciated Swamp Thing series.
Did it ever come back?
No, it got canceled after the first episode.
Shoot.
Before it even aired.
Shoot.
Because of money issues, creative issues, a whole bunch of things.
That actually looked really good.
That show is awesome, and it's dark, and it sets up for a kind of a cliffhanger new season. And of course, it's never going to happen unless they spin it into something else.
Would those things happen?
Including Ian Ziering shows up as Blue Devil in the show, which I didn't expect, which is awesome. Anyway. But I also have the new Harley Quinn animated show that we got to get caught up on.
Yes,
we talked about it before.
Pretty good.
So moving on. So we picked up another sitcom recently that we talked about watching and never bothered with it.
I know.
And we finally just picked it up and we binge watched it.
We watched the whole season.
And it's called Bob Hart's
Abhisola.
Abhisola. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's a confusing title because when you look at it, it says Bob and then there's physically a heart there. Abhisola, so I thought it was like Bob Loves Abhisola.
Me too.
But it's actually called Bob Hart's Abhisola.
Bob Hart's Abhisola.
So,
I'm gonna go find. What's the main guy's name?
Bob.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that was from Mike and Molly.
From Mike and Molly?
With Melissa McCarthy. He was the husband.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, without his mustache.
It's Billy Gardell.
Click on him. Why don't you go to filmography? What are you doing?
I don't know. Where did it go? It used to be further down.
No, it did not. It's always right there.
You need to shush.
I'll wait.
What was that show called? Mike and Molly.
127 episodes.
My bad. He must be Mike from Mike and Molly.
What I just said, you wackadoo.
And Abhisola is Foloke Olowo Foyaku.
So, what did you think of this show?
My Nigerian's getting so much good.
Actually, tell everybody about the show first.
So, the show is about this guy, Bob. He's a businessman, has a heart attack, ends up in the hospital, and his nurse is this lovely Nigerian lady named Abhisola.
And he runs a compression sock company with his family.
Yes. And so, it's so funny. The first episode, he looks at the nurse. He's like, "What kind of socks are you wearing?" And she's like, "What?" Because socks is his business. So just kind of a friendship develops from there. And then he decides he kind of likes her. And so he starts trying to go after her. But
you made it sound creepy. He's going after her.
Well, you know, he's going to
choke her with a sock.
He wants to pursue perhaps a friendship and a relationship with Abhisola. And then through the course of the series, you find out his family is, I guess, a typical.
They're all dysfunctional, crazy people.
Not super racist, but not maybe super open-minded.
The mom is racist.
Yeah, but she's one of those. She's one of those
friendly racist.
Yeah, and it's the people that I think we know from older generations that are like, "Oh yeah, I love those black people."
Yeah, they're not intentionally hateful racist. They're racist nonetheless.
They don't realize they are.
But they're so ingrained, and this is the time they came from. Like my grandmother was always like that. I don't think my grandmother ever. Did you just point at me? Not like
his
that.
grandmother.
I thought you were pointing at me.
I
was like, say, I am the most non-racist person around. I married your dumbass.
I married you. We're almost the same color, though.
We're not even near the same color.
Not at all.
But my grandmother never was hateful, but she would throw out racist terminology, and I think it was because of the time she came from. That doesn't make it okay, but it is what it is. And I think
that's why I like this show, because it's bringing up all aspects of it. Obviously, the white people and African American people, but also within Nigerians and African Americans.
Well, it's an interesting part, because there's on her side, while we mentioned his side of the family, on her side of the family, they're wanting her to get a man and to get married, and they're trying to fix her up with a Nigerian guy.
Nigerian man.
But they also like Bob. So initially they're trying to get her to get with Bob.
Because he's American and
he
can
has
take
money.
care of
her.
Yeah,
he has a business, so he must be rich.
Yeah.
And they like his socks, because he gives them socks as a gift, and they like them.
But it's interesting, though, and it reminded me of a conversation I've had with one of my friends about how even within our own, I guess, racial groups, we segment ourselves out. For example, Hispanics or Latin Americans or whatever, like Mexicans and people perhaps from different countries would rank themselves higher or lower on a scale of, well,
a prime example is
Central America.
We have a friend that we used to always make running jokes about, but I used to work with a bunch of them. It's like that big angry gap of Mexican and El Salvadorian.
Oh, don't get
You don't
confused.
call either one of them the other. I worked with a group when I worked for a cable company years ago.
Can't do it.
And the whole underground guys, which were all the guys that were running the pipes and all that stuff, all of them were El Salvadorian.
Yep, don't.
And the first thing I was told that day by the boss when I got hired, he goes, "They are not Mexicans, they're El Salvadorians, and don't say otherwise, you're going to be in a fight."
And that's the thing. And so,
I laughed at that. I was like, whatever.
No, it's the thing, because like my family's from Guatemala. Like, do not call my dad Mexican. He's like, no, I'm Guatemalan. I'm Central American.
It's funny because we have
completely different.
We have a good friend who's El Salvadorian.
Yes.
So it was a running joke at our places. I would call her Mexican. I'd call you El Salvadorian just to irritate everybody.
It's like,
it's a real thing.
No, it's a thing, and so it's interesting.
So this show plays up that a lot of
all the different aspects,
the different classes.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I thought this is like the cutest little show. I'm learning a lot about Nigerian culture. I love her family, her auntie and uncle that she lives with.
I am Team Bob.
Yes, I am Team Bob.
I was never here.
Yes, so funny.
They're like, it's funny because they get to play up the jokes that would normally be played up on a buffoon character, but they're used in a way that they just don't understand because of the culture difference. So they're not stupid.
No, but
so like there's that joke where he tells them like they has a secret meeting and he's like, "Don't tell him you saw me here," and he goes, "I never saw you," and he goes, "I'm right here,"
Yeah, so
and it's only because he doesn't understand what he was doing, not because he's stupid.
And then I like that they like very American thing. Like they keep their culture, but they like they want their double cheeseburger. They're like, "Oh, Burger King, yes, Burger King." Just things that for us Americans
the
are like.
is from Wendy's.
Whatever. Just for us, we're like.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other aspect of it is we take for granted a lot of the benefits and commodities that we have in the country, and people coming in.
I deserve all these things.
It's a cute show. Watch it. It is lighthearted. It's fun, but it deals with some serious topics as well.
It's on CBS.
Bob Hearts Abhisola.
And really funny, a little fact that you may not know about Bob Hearts Abhisola.
Bob Hearts Abhisola.
I think it was yesterday. They had the networks, they put out stuff about how because everything's in reruns for the most part.
Yeah, right now we're in mid-season.
CBS had I believe the #1 comedy network with reruns that were led by Bob and The Neighborhood.
There's 2 shows that I love.
They were the 2, from what I read, they were the 2 top-rated shows on Monday night.
Those are my favorite. Well, that and Mighty Little Man.
Yeah, it's called Young
Sheldon. I love
Sheldon.
CBS shows right now, and I'm loving. We have CBS All Access, which I'm not going to necessarily plug it, but you should get CBS All Access.
Plug anything you want.
Because that's also how you're going to get to see the new Picard TV show.
Which starts January 23rd.
And the Star Trek, the current Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, well, I think season 3 is coming soon. And there's been a talk of a Michelle Yeoh spinoff series too, so we'll see if that happens.
I love Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes, you do.
He's
moving on.
Good-looking old man.
So let's talk about this. Well, let me talk about another show of mine that's.
I do have one more show.
Oh, go ahead then.
So finally getting caught up on season 6 of Vikings.
I'm so behind. I don't think I've watched this in season 3 or 4.
When Ragnar was still there?
No, it was at least a season after he was gone.
Well, now.
But I think that's why, even though I know that's part of the history, I think that's why I was annoyed because I really liked him, and I hate those kids.
Well, because now Bjorn's in charge of Kattegat.
Bjork, the little singing lady?
Bjorn, his son, the hot-looking blonde kid, is now in charge of Kattegat.
Wow.
What he is, and then Lagatha has decided she's tired of war and fighting. She wants to go back to be a farmer, like the very beginning. And I think we're reaching the end of her life and story. She seems to be getting really old and just over it. And then we pick up from last season where the brothers were fighting each other. It's going to come back to haunt them. And yeah, so that's where we are on the story. We don't know what's happened to Floki and that new settlement out on Iceland. There's a lot happening. So I don't remember if this is going to be the last one, but we have like 4 or 5 different storylines we need to wrap up. So
sorry, I was having a look.
We'll see how it goes. So check out Vikings. It's on the History Channel.
Well, and since we're talking about returning shows, one of my favorite new funny shows came back this last week. It was season 8, I believe it was, of Letterkenny. That is one of my favorite new shows.
Quebec.
And it's in the town. It's in the town of Letterkenny. Hey.
That's all I ever hear in
I'll
this
stab you with a
thing.
pen.
Okay, sorry.
I was hanging out with my friends the other day. I think I was making her watch a little bit of episode because there's episode 6 of the season. It's only 8 episodes, a little 30-minute episodes. It's on Hulu right now. It is a Canadian series, but episode 6 deals with a reoccurring characters, these Mennonites, the Dick family, and everything they talk about are like sexual innuendos. It's just so cleverly written. It's so funny. But if you haven't ever seen the show, you got to check it out. It's stupid. It's silly. It's funny. It's witty. The dialogue is quick, fast banter. She can't say anything. Even when she does this, she's seen 1.5 episodes, so she knows nothing that she talks about.
That's true.
And I think one of the reasons I connect with it, outside of it just being geniusly written, is it also reminds me of me and all my group of friends, because there's an ongoing element of somebody picks up a word, and you've seen it on this show. If I say engage, that happens, and that they do that stuff in the show all the time. They also do they have these running gags where they'll say something and say
I have one of those for everything.
well, they'll say something, say they're talking about wrestling. There's a wrestling conversation. I was going to play that for you just so you can hear it. And they basically used all these different wrestlers' names as it passes to each person having a conversation. He goes, well, he got a little Roddy Piper up there the other day, and it turned into a junkyard dog scrap with, and it's just cleverly doing put together. So it's season 8, Letterkenny. It's on Hulu now. If you haven't watched it, it does have all 8 seasons. It's a quick watch. I zoomed through it when I didn't get into it until 7 seasons were already there, and I zoomed through it in a few days, and then I've already finished season 8, and I'm very sad about that. So let's move on. So we have 2 others we're going to talk about. We have one docuseries, and we also need to recap the big finale of season. So what would you like to talk about first?
Well, let me see if there's anything else I need to discuss before we head there. Everything's kind of on mid-season finale. I'm assuming everyone saw the finale of The Voice. I'm super behind. Don't tell me who won.
Somebody is a singer one, I bet you.
I did. Magnum PI's on mid-season finale. I really enjoy the show. You should watch it.
You have to go every show you watch.
Prodigal Son. Have you left it behind? It is so good. You should watch it. Bull, I love. The Purge, we talked about. FBI.
All right, let's move on to the other show. She's going to look through every single show she watches.
600-pound life.
That's not what this show is about.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the wrap up first. So this past Friday, we just got through the Rise of Skywalker film hitting theaters, which was the finale of the Skywalker saga. It is not the end of Star Wars movies. It may not get another movie in a couple years, but they're going to be doing this. Is the end of the Skywalker saga that started in 1977 with Star Wars. Love them or hate them, it has now come full circle. It has ended. But that is not our only Star Wars contact. If you go to Disney Plus, we still have Star Wars Resistance on Disney XD. This is its final season, so it's got a few episodes left. But on Disney Plus, it had the highly anticipated and much loved series come to an end for the first season of The Mandalorian.
That just seems such a short season.
It was only 8 episodes, something like that.
Too short. Bring us more.
Biatch.
But now it's not going to be till next year.
Yeah, not till the next fall is when they debuted it. Jon Favreau. He tweeted out a picture of a Gamorrean guard
Gamorrean
maquette statue, but he's wearing nothing but a loincloth and sandals that he normally wears. And it just said season 2 coming in fall. So we assume we're getting a Gamorrean guard type Gamorrean character. So that'd be exciting. So anyway, so we obviously I don't want to spoil anything. I know a lot of people have been posting stuff on about the baby stuff, which I think is, I refuse to refer to it as the name they call it because that is not what it is. I'll refer to it as the asset or the child. And that is the only way. So what I want to talk about is, because we don't want to spoil anything because people haven't seen it yet. Or some people don't have Disney Plus. They're going to have to wait for if they ever release it on Blu-ray or whatever that happens.
Or just get Disney Plus.
I know, but I'm not going to be that guy. What did you think of the show?
Disney Plus, but
what did you think of the show as a whole for those 8 episodes? Actually, what were you expecting going in, and did you get what you wanted out of it?
I think I was expecting more Gina up at the front, only because she was at Celebration on the stage, and so I thought it was going to be like a buddy series of the Mandalorian with Gina's character together throughout the whole thing. That's not what it was, which is fine because now we've woven her into the story. We're going somewhere.
She got what, 2 or 3 episodes?
Yeah, which is really good, and she looks really good in it, by the way. I love her. So I guess it's what I expected. The adventures of a Mandalorian and what they do. I mean, we know they're kind of like bounty hunters or gun for hire or whatever. I like that it's a little bit of a Star Wars Western.
Yeah, it's kind of got a Lone Wolf Macabre Western. I know you don't know what I'm talking about when I said that, but
it's got a feel.
Lone Wolf Macabre is like a samurai comic series about a Ronin samurai and a baby.
That's
or his son
okay.
or whatever.
Well, and I just like it, and I guess I know where we are in time period, what's happened to the Mandalorians, and I'm so happy that I've watched some of the other series of animated series, I guess specifically, because it's all kind of weaving the story together.
Yeah.
So something happens in the last episode. I'm like, I remember
what
show that's from.
It's funny because there's so many episodes in these 8 episodes that have no purpose other than just letting us be in the universe.
That's what I'm liking.
And I've become really irritated by the fact that somebody's gotten so in love with, and their focal point has been on this asset child character. Don't get me wrong, was cool, and it's a cool addition. But I mean, we're getting to see Jawas do stuff. We're getting to see Ugnaughts riding around. We're seeing Trandoshians fighting and stuff. And
we're getting to see like dialogue in their daily lives.
We're getting to see scout troopers just have nonsense conversations.
But even more than that, we're at Fall of the Empire, so
they're all unemployed.
Yeah, but then now, like, the Ugnaught dude is out of that kind of slavery, so he's living his own life.
Yeah, so that's what I've loved, is getting to see what used to be the background footage of the Star Wars universe be something. Like, you got IG-11, who everybody thought was going to be IG-88, but it's fine. It's just
whatever.
It serves a purpose. But we finally get to see them do something. We've never seen him outside of the comics.
And we know so much more about his existence and protocols.
Yeah, and outside of like the comics and maybe some stuff in the animated series, we've never got to see. The only thing we got from IG-88 was him just standing there. And even though it's not IG-88, you're getting to see IG-88 do something. It was just
more creatures,
and you're getting more with the Mandalorians and their background.
And then the whatchamacallit, Jawas.
Oh, the Jawa! That Jawa episode is my favorite.
It's so dumb. I'm like, that's all they wanted. That was dumb, but we're learning about them.
They're scavengers, and they take stuff, and they build droids, and they throw droids up. But I love them just throwing trash at people.
The people. Did you say?
The Tusken Raiders. We get to see a little bit of them.
We get to learn and communicating, and
they're using sign language.
Where people are coming from and their home planets, and who they were during the war and who they are now. I mean, you were learning so much stuff.
Yeah.
We have to watch it all over again.
I'm going to. It's expanding the universe in a way that I really didn't. I knew it was going to do, but I don't think I expected it to do. I'm annoyed by the whole child asset aspect of the story, only because nothing's happening with it. It is, but I mean,
if we go where
I just wish I would much rather see this same story without that. Like, it could have been a not a kill or something like this, and there's still a mysterious thing that a character we don't know who it was. It was showcased a few episodes earlier. I was very disappointed, like you, and still a little bit am about the fact that Carl Weathers and Gina Carano weren't in every episode. I thought that's kind of how it was
Yeah, I
played
thought
up.
so too. I thought it was more of an ensemble.
By the time it ended, I felt like they were building some kind of a crew, and then that just seemed to not happen either. And I was like, dang it, man.
Well, and I think another thing I like besides the creature, we're seeing different droids or styles of droids that we've seen in other worlds. And we're like, oh, okay, they exist everywhere else. Yeah. It's not just the ones.
Well, then also I like the final episode alone circled things back to the original film. It had the thing like she mentioned had a major plot point from the animated series. I think from Clone Wars and Rebels. I think it was in both of them.
Yep.
And it's a case that if you've never watched those, you're not going to really know why that's a big deal. Like I know somebody that didn't ever watch stuff, but he's read about it, so he knew about it. So he was so excited.
It's cool.
So yeah, that's going to be a big deal later on, and that character that it's involved with is a big deal into the Mandalorian lore too because of it. So
and all the Mandalorian stuff's actually really interesting.
Oh my God, when probably the coolest scene in the entire show is when you finally get to see all the Mandalorians coming in and doing something. And I know it was interesting how a lot of people had arguments about the rules and the stuff of the Mandalorian at the beginning. But then when you find out the kind of the history as it goes on, you realize, which I kept telling people, I was like, clearly this is this and this is that. Not that I was right about all of it, but it's like, it's obvious how it was playing out, and you had to look at it. This isn't the same thing as what you know of Boba Fett or Jango Fett or whatever. Right. This is something else. So anyway, but The Mandalorian is all 8 episodes are available now on Disney Plus. You check it out. It is there, and you have until the fall. Thankfully, we're not going to have to wait till fall next year to get more Star Wars because the all-new season of Clone Wars is returning in February.
I'm excited. So you need to go watch all the other ones?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to revisit it. All right, so the last thing we're talking about is a docu-series we watched the first season of about Kevin Hart called Don't F This Up. It's actually not called F, it's the word, but it's maybe a little asterisk or whatever.
So it's that.
It's a documentary about his career and his life.
Yeah. And just following him around. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so what did you think of it, madam?
I wasn't sure what time period we were in and what was going to happen, but it's actually interesting. It's from a couple of years ago now, I guess, because the same year as the whole Oscar thing. So has it been a year or 2 years?
Oh, it's been a couple of years now.
2 years.
I think so.
Anyway, so it's kind of that. It's following him day to day, what he's doing, the different projects he's working on, and it's crazy how much stuff he was doing at that point in time.
Well, it jumps back to the beginning to where it follows how he kind of his rise. The first episode or so gives like his history of how he got into comedy and how he got big and his career and what he went through with his mom and his relationship with his father and all these kind of things. And then we get into, I give him a lot of credit because doing a show like this had to be both hard but also therapeutic because he goes into the extramarital affair situation that came up. He deals with this Oscar and this homophobia situation. He deals with his mistreatment of his own friends and people that he works with. And lets him see it, and he embraces it, and it humanizes this guy who's one of the biggest stars on the planet in a way that you don't normally get to see. Because you're getting interviews like they interview his wife, and they talk about their marital thing, and that's kind of long gone, but she still starts crying about it, and and there's discussions about the problems, and it's just interesting how it's all kind of wove together.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, and I guess at that point. He already had cameras following him when all this was happening. Do you think it was the idea to always have a show, or it was just happening?
I don't know if it was just following him that long.
But back then, it was still following him back then.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe it's been a show that's been in the works.
I don't know.
It's insane the amount of stuff that he's been doing.
And so I thought this was one series. Kind of series. I didn't know.
I think you thought it was a movie or
I thought it was. Well, at first
film.
I thought it was a movie. Then I thought it was a docu-series, but like a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
Because we haven't even got to the car accident yet.
No, I'm assuming that's next season.
Yeah, because it ends on right after the Oscar stuff and how they dealt with it and that kind of thing, and then that's it.
We'll see.
So we'll have to wait for the next of it. But it's really, really good. It's kind of inspiring.
It is.
Just to know what he goes to and hearing, and of course you could say, okay, this is all bullshit for the camera or whatever else.
That's okay.
But I think there was a very big sense of reality to it. I don't think it was a lot of made up stuff.
Yeah.
Hearing his friends that his close circle of people that he has with him being betrayed by somebody, how he doesn't let people in now because of that. But hearing how they say, look, we weren't there to check him to make sure he does the right thing, but also it's not our responsibility to hold his hand.
No.
You know, and it was interesting just to see the dynamic and why he has the people around him he does, because he knows he needs to be checked, you know, and then owning up to being a dick, you know.
Yeah.
So it's on Netflix right now.
Interesting.
It's called Kevin Hart, Don't F This Up.
I think especially if you're a fan, you should watch it. It's interesting.
Yeah. So
I liked it.
I think that's going to be it then.
Alrighty.
It's on you, sister.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of TV Tuesdays.
The final episode of this year.
Exclusively on El YouTube. Please check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter.
Oh, it's me.
It's you.
And don't forget, we'll be back for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live this Sunday next year for the first episode of 2020, where I'm going to fly in my Jetson car, because we're supposed to have those by then.
Are we?
I think so. I think Jetsons are 2020.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. When did
we're still living in Flintstones, so according to my feet here. And then circle back for Monday for an all-new episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays, where I'll dive into an all-new thing. And if I can make my time work the way I'm hoping it will.
2062, buddy. You're okay.
So I'm off still.
We're off.
We got time.
We have time.
Get them working.
New decade.
But I'm hoping the next week I'll be doing a Martial Art Movie Monday trilogy. So I got to make time to watch them all.
Oh, goodness.
And just so you know, when I do those shows, I rewatch the movie right before the show again. So it's not just I pulled it off the shelf and we talk. I try to rewatch it.
He's watching karate movies very loudly in the house.
I was not watching anything very loudly.
It was.
When?
The other day. It could be any day. Pick a day. And it's loud.
There are a lot of karate movies playing in this house. And then circle right back here next Tuesday for an all-new episode of TV Tuesdays of me and this one here. So everybody have a wonderful New Year's. Be safe. Don't forget to hit our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
For any contests we may have. We have some all new contests and big stuff coming up for next year. Please, please, please share our page, like our page. The more stuff you subscribe and like, the more big prizes we get for you, the more content we can bring you. And we do this for you because I'm sure as hell not paid for it.
Nope.
So
we don't get paid to write good reviews.
Yes, we're not paid for anything.
We're not those.
About the closest thing we get paid for is we get sent stuff. But if it's bad, it's bad, and I have to tell them.
Yeah.
So also, if you're interested, check out our episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where we both listed our top 10 movies of the year.
Post my top 10.
I posted mine already of my top 10 on our Facebook page, and we'll post hers as well. So if you don't get a chance to watch the show,
we're gonna post it.
You can see what our top 10 films in no particular order and no particular reason. If you want to know the reason, you got to watch the show.
Yep. There you go. All right. Thanks.
So make sure you hit that subscribe button below, or hit the one that's up here, or whatever trailer shows up here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace and love. Happy New Year.